Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Okay. Can someone tell me how many people we are supposed to be expecting? This class is for both back-end and front-end developers. So are we looking at up to like 200, 300 students joining?
Actually, we wouldn't know. However, for the front end, I think oftentimes we used to be up to, it depends, yeah, it depends. But I think this particular info should be given to you by Xylos or one that knows the exact numbers. But then we are much, that's it. So if it is for the both classes, we should be having over 100 in estimation.
Okay.
But based on people schedule, their unavailability, you may not have up to that.
Up to that. All right. Thank you, Adama. Can I call you that?
Yes, thank you very much.
All right. You are welcome. I will just okay. I will just enable my camera for a little bit, just so that some of you can just see the face. I will be putting it off basically because I have a toddler too, and she can show up anytime. So, but yeah, it's nice to have all of you in this class, and we can just get started. So as I'm made to understand, this is being recorded, so others joining us can catch up with the recording. So we are going straight into object-oriented programming. So can someone just please share with us what they understand by object-oriented programming? Or have you heard of it before? If you can just raise your hand, like, have you heard of what object-oriented programming is? Anybody? Okay, nice one, Ifemi. Thank you for sharing that. Any other person? Object-oriented programming. Is this the first time you are hearing about it? If this is the first time you are hearing about object-oriented programming, you can indicate. Let's know. It's meant to be an interactive class, please. As much as possible, it's hands-on. We are all developers, so if you and I would appreciate your responses as well. And you know, it's important that you also kind of give me the needed ginger, you know, as you always like to put it. So yeah, I would really appreciate those responses coming. Yeah, so Kennedy said he or she has heard of it before. Popola, Fiona, I've never heard of it. Popola, what's that emoji for? What are you trying to tell us? Object-oriented programming. Okay, do we know what, because there are like, there is what is called procedural programming, and there is what is object-oriented programming. Now, most of what we have seen, or most of what we might have been working with, is majorly procedural programming. So, what's procedural programming? It's just, I'll just go ahead and share my screen. Okay, if you can see my screen, let me know. Can you all see my screen?
Yes. Yes.
Right, you guys, you can actually unmute and talk, please.
Yes,
So, all right, thank you. And because I might not always be on the Zoom screen. Or okay, I think I can do something. I can actually move that screen to a part where I can always view it. All right, I think this is fine. But still, I will still appreciate you guys to be responsive. Thank you very much. Help my ministry so we can move faster. Okay, so procedural programming is basically functional programming. Like you want to maybe declare the shape of a rectangle, for example, or the area of a rectangle or the area of shapes. And you just want to like, okay, I think I can have a function to declare the area of a rectangle. So if you want to, I can just say calculate area of a rectangle function, calculate a rectangle area. And if we are calculating the area of a rectangle, what are the parameters we expect? We are all developers, so I expect equals answer here.
Length times breadth, abi?
Yeah, so we have the length and the breadth, or we all call it the width and the length, or the width. Some people use width and height, but I will just use width and length. So I will expect that because the width and the length will be different for different rectangles. So I will receive that as what we call parameters, in which when you receive the values, you can now say, okay, you have arguments. Usually I like to close this bracket before I go ahead, because if you are not careful, that one character can mess up your whole code. Now, calculate rectangle area, width and length. It's width times length. So it's either you say area equals to width times length, and then you return that, or you can just say return width times length. Now, as I'm doing this, I'll also try to, yes, Hyperion list. Is Hyperion the way?
Okay, yes, please.
Yeah, you list that.
Yes, please, Neil. Please, can you zoom in your screen?
Okay. Let me see. All right. Sorry about for that. Thank you for that. That's the kind of feedback I appreciate. For me, it was kind of okay, but yeah. If you have any question, just don't hesitate to unmute and say something, please, or any concerns. If you probably at some point I'm kind of relaxed, I'm not talking louder, please just let me know, and I would adjust. All right, so we are trying to calculate the rectangle area, and I have this. Imagine I want to calculate the area of a circle. I go ahead and say function calculate circle area. And to calculate the area of a circle, what do we need, please? Can someone tell us?
The radius.
The radius.
Yes.
So what's the area of the circle?
2 pi r square.
Pi r square.
Pi r squared. So, like I said, it is better to not, there are times sometimes that you save space. Now, there is something with there is something in programming, and it's called memory management, like in the memory of the programming language that you are using. And that memory management is how you actually save the variables. I hope everybody understand what I call variables. So the variables you are actually using, I can actually say, because this is Node.js, and most of what we are going to be doing is actually applicable to PHP, Python, whatever. The same principles of of programming, object-oriented programming, but I'll be using more examples in Node.js. So the principles of storing data into variables actually takes up memory. we always, a lot of things is abstracted from us, abstracted, and we are still going to do what is called abstraction. So it's also good that is actually coming to my mouth now. So abstracted, like the things that you don't see on the surface. So a lot of things that are just happening in the background that you don't know what's happening. Sometimes you realize that you are actually studying a program, and a particular file can be up to like 1 megabyte, 2 megabyte, and you're like, okay, maybe it's the text that takes up all that data. There are sometimes that there are some leaking memory that is being taken up by the variable you are storing. So let's say in Node.js, you want to store a variable, we can just say let, or you can use const. What's the difference between let and const? I expect that to be equals answer anyway. So what's the difference between let and const?
Yeah.
Const is const doesn't change. It's a value you assign to a variable that doesn't change, and let variables or value changes.
Yeah, so thank you very much for that. Yeah, for when you use const to declare a variable, you cannot change it in Node.js or in JavaScript. You are not able to change. So as I declare the variable area, I cannot I cannot say maybe later in the future. Let's say I now try to like area or area plus equals 25 or something. This I cannot do with const. If I try to run this, it will return an error because I declared area with a const. So I cannot alter the value of area. But if I declare it with a let, I can do what I want to try to do here. And basically what I want to try to do here is just the same thing as saying area equals to area plus 25. So it's you just do a shortening it. So it's a plus equals, it's a shorthand for saying area equals to area plus 25. So instead of saying area equals to area plus 25, you just say plus equals 25. But that's not where we are going. So what I just want to showcase here is the fact that I could have done this, save the width times length to area and then return area. But little by little, well, we can do this better by just, instead of doing this, just remove all of this. The reason is that you saving to area, you are taking up a particular memory space. It can be as little as 1 kilobyte, it can be as little as 0.1 kilobyte, but you are taking a particular memory space. Now imagine that in a large code base. Before you know it, you have abstracted a lot of different unnecessary variable associations. So if it's not necessary to assign some what's it called? If it's not necessary to assign some operations or some logic to variables, sometimes you avoid it if it is possible. You only assign variables where necessary. So I just wanted to point that out. So I'll just come back and say return with times length. And you have the area of it. Then this we have return the value of pi. What's the value of pi?
3.142.
3.142.
Times radius. Sorry. Then raised to power 2. So this is just you saying pi r squared. Now, these are like, I can go on and on. So it means that if I want to calculate area of a square, I will create a function for it. If I want to calculate area of a triangle, create a function for it. It means that before you know it, I'm already having like 20 different functions for 20 different shapes. This, in a large code base, is not sustainable. It is the reason why we do object-oriented programming. So what object-oriented programming does is basically helping us to it allows for code modular usability, it allows for maintainability, and it allows for modularity. So let me just put those down. So for object-oriented programming, some of the advantages, modularity. So when you say modularity, you can actually write the source code and maintain it independently of the source code for other objects. You can, that is, you can have like different modules. You can ensure that you are trying as much as possible not to loop things together. So modularity helps you for clean code. This when you are taking, especially when you are dealing with large code bases, you will appreciate the idea of modularity. It helps you to do as much as helps you to like ensure that different areas of the code, like for example, if I'm dealing with a large code base where some parts are majorly for views, let's say I have a full stack project and I want in some places where we call views, like the ones that will show the application to, let's say, the users or on the browser. I can have the views in one place. I can have like maybe the backend logic in another place. So object-oriented programming allows us for this. If you are dealing with a React project, for example, you have that there are some different files and different folders that handles different logic. So there are some logic that are basically for you to view, to be able to write the front-end code or the view logic, and then there are like part of the code that just handles the business logic. That a lot of times you see that a lot of people have like different files that handles API, some files that are just for data manipulation or receiving data and all of that. So it helps to make it modular. So it's for organizing code majorly. That's what object-oriented programming does. So it's a powerful programming concept. Sometimes we treat a lot of files, or we treat we treat classes as blueprints where you can get other where you can actually create other objects. So that's the first advantage. The second advantage is for code maintainability. So if you want to make your code maintainable, so in such a way that you are back to your code in 6 months' time, 1 year time, 2 years' time, and you're able to like understand exactly what is done, make changes, make updates. OOP is like the best way to go. OOP is the best way to go. So you have to like what's it called now? Arrange your code in such a way that you are able to maintain it easily. So for maintainability, I will advise that use OOP. We'll get to like see some of the use logic and actually write some probably pseudocode or just write some Node.js just to see what we are talking about. So code reusability. So for you to be able to reuse code, there is as much as possible, like the example that I gave, I can decide to like create a class. So let's have, one of the basic things, or one of the keywords that helps in bringing about that is more commonly that is like the bane of object-oriented programming is the class keyword. So usually we create classes, and when we create classes, we basically use that to undo to be a blueprint where you can create other objects. So you create a class, and then you are able to specify different methods in that class that other objects can be created from, or other objects can inherit, or you can even create another class from a base class. I will repeat that again. So you have classes. The classes stand as blueprints that allows for you to create new objects. Now, when you create new object from that blueprint, it means that that blueprint has like maybe methods of the class or properties of those classes. Now, those properties of the class, other classes can also inherit it, if you want. And there are ways you can even handle like security of that class, abstraction. So one of the things you can do in solving this shape issue that we have, I can just create a class shape, and then I will just put so we have the class shape, and I can put a method there that other objects can now inherit. So I'll say the method is calculate area. So we have the calculate area method. I'll just leave it at that. So any class or any other shape that I create would be able to pick it up. So if I try to say class rectangle, I'm sorry, classes it should be small letters, but usually when you start the name of a class, we start with the capital letters, unlike the way we name variables. So I have the class rectangle, and I can just declare a constructor. Now, when you are creating your classes, the constructors help you to initiate that class in different objects. So I'll create a constructor, and I'll say the constructor will have properties, width and height. Or width and length, because we are using length before. Let me just keep to width and length. And in this constructor, I would, in the way this is handled for different programming languages, different. In PHP, you do not need to do super. You can just create an init, and then you are fine. In Node.js, you have to introduce the super class, the super constructor, showing that you are inheriting the properties of the class rectangle and of the class shape rather. And because the class rectangle, I want to get like properties of shape. I'll just say extends shape.
Sir, sorry, sir. Some of us here from the front end, we don't know anything about PHP or that. So we only know JavaScript, CSS,
That's
and
what,
HTML.
that's what I'm saying. I'm explaining this in a general way. I'm just saying that
Okay,
in other languages, this is what obtains.
no
Do
problem.
you understand? So we are using JavaScript. This is Node.js. I've not even, and you are going to use classes, especially when you are using frameworks, Angular, React, what's it called? This other one, Svelte, and all of those frameworks for front end. So, but on the idea is the same, because there are programmers that are basically PHP programmers on the back end. That's why I'm actually explaining that they won't in PHP you won't see super, for example. So this is just JavaScript based, what I'm doing here. That's why I'm trying to like, okay, this is what obtains with JavaScript. So
Sorry, sir. Can you zoom in a little bit because of some people that have eye issues?
I've zoomed in earlier and I felt probably okay. Let me just
Thank
do
you.
more. Is it better that way, or I should?
It's okay
I
now.
okay. All right. Where am I writing not to? Oh, sorry. The focus has changed. Okay. So we have super, and then you have this dot width. So what does this mean? We are assigning the variables. That is, anytime you initiate, what is mean with height? So this dot length equal to length. And you have your constructor. And then I can now say in this one, we can have calculate area. So can have a calculate area method. We'll now return so this is like a basic example of how you can use OOP and how you can actually go from trying to define an area method for each of your shapes. So and there are like a lot of other examples that we can look at here. We can look at maybe, let's say we have an animal class, and then you have like different objects of that animal. So you have dog, you have that. I think I would like that example more, but let's say I want to now calculate the area of a particular rectangle. So I can say, let rectangle 1 be equal to new rectangle. And what am I going to do? I'm going to provide it with my width and my length. So the width, let's say, is 5, and then the length is 10. By the time I call rectangle 1, so rectangle 1 dot calculate area, I would be able to get the value of the area of this rectangle. So you can have like, you can initiate so many other rectangles like that and get their area. So that's just an example of having meeting a class, right? Yeah, I can go ahead, please.
Okay, please, what's the purpose of line 9, class shape, calculate area, since calculate area is already on line 20, like the formula is on line 20, 21. So what's the purpose of that line 9?
So
It's
basically, just
13:30.
to ensure that your okay, this is one way of ensuring that how will I put it? Like ensuring that your classes are what's it called now, adhere to a particular protocol. So let's say, for example, you have a class shape, you already have the shapes, and you want all the classes to have a calculate area method. I realized that when we created the class shape, we just have the calculate area as an empty, like we didn't do anything here on the line 10, right? We didn't do anything. We just have this method here created. So what does that mean? It ensures, it absolutely tries to make all the, how will I put it now? Every other class that extends that class shape must adhere to that method. So they must have that method in it. They can have other methods. Like, for example, on the rectangle, there is another calculation that we should calculate on rectangle. And what's that?
Perimeter.
Yeah, perimeter. Thank you. So calculate perimeter. So I can have this other method in class rectangle, and that's fine. But if I try to run any instance of, if I create rectangle without calculate area, I'll get an error. Because I'm extending shape and shape has calculate area method. So what that means is that the class rectangle that extends shape must also have that method. So this enforces uniformity across board. So you expect that every class that extends class shape must have that particular method. So it's one of the ways in which code reusability is enabled, just to ensure that anything. So if I create a class circle will extend shape, and then I can just have a calculate area for a class circle. And that would also improve what's it called? How we handle or that will improve your code maintainability and usability. Okay. So one thing that you can one thing about object-oriented programming is the fact that it helps you to, like I've said, it helps you to organize code. You can have so many functions, and then you have like if you have so many functions, you just have like a large let us you have a large file, and just realize that so many functions are just put together without a particular organization. So object-oriented programming helps with organizing code. Like I mentioned, it helps in usability. It also helps in data protection. In terms of data protection, so I can in data protection, I can actually decide to like protect some properties of my code. All those we'll look at later. Now, this is like we have like two classes. This is just meant to introduce it to you. I would also send out a video where we are going to actually I'm going to use like a more relatable example. Let's say we have a class vehicle where I will send probably before Monday, and then you guys can watch that video where we can actually have maybe a class vehicle, and then we would abstract like other classes from it, different types of cars and what to expect, like different methods and all of that. And it's where we can it's where I think more examples will be able to enlighten us. So for you'll be like, okay, but because you would be like, the way I'm writing code, what is the problem? Or I might you would really not appreciate it now, but I'm telling you that by the time you start embracing object-oriented programming, you will write more cleaner code. It tells you to write code in a more organized and maintainable way. That is a sure banker, because for each of these classes, most likely you are going to have them in different files. The standard practice is like, okay, maybe you have a rectangle file and you are just like, okay, it has its own class. Then you have a shape file that has its own class, a circle file that has its own class, its own file. And it makes it easier that way to be able to abstract it. For what's it called? I got a private message now that I should make an example for PHP. Okay, let us try to look at PHP. And for those that are doing front end, I think it can just be a learning curve. You can also try to just see how that is, how like some other things are being done in a different programming language. So I'll quickly just do that. But note that this is WebStorm. Let me see if I can just pull up PHP Storm. Sorry. I will have to stop sharing so that I can share my PHP Storm app so that we can see the implementation on PHP Storm. I'm trying to not beat 1 o'clock here. Yeah. So my PHP Storm is starting up. I will try to see how we can quickly just write something and
Mr. Dami.
yes, please.
Yeah, really. Okay, I don't know for I'm only I'll be speaking for myself here. I actually understand what you're doing here, but when it comes to implementing these things in real life problems in your codes and the likes, that is where the issue comes in. You understand? I go over these things every time, but then to implement it, that's where the problem comes in. So how can you advise, or what can you say towards that?
All right. So like I said, the truth is a lot of things come from practice, right? The more you actually get to work on projects, the more you see the reason why you should use some programming concepts. Now, definitely for OOP to be important, for OOP to be popular, it means it's an important concept when it comes to writing clean and maintainable code. And it's not actually that hard, really. Working with classes, for example, it's not like it's something that is that is otherworldly. If you understand that, it's not like a out of this world thing. No, it is just it's just something that you can get used to with practice. Like I said, with practice. I wouldn't say the best we can do at this stage is try to show you like different implementation, like the simple implementations here and there, how it can help you to refactor some different codes and all of that. But having that experience itself when working on a project would actually drive it home. And based on your question, I'm going to try to find something relatable to, because I'm going to definitely, like I said, I will be dropping a video, and in that video I will try as much as possible to have that settled. I don't know if you understand me, so I'll try to have something that we can work on. Hope that is fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you so much.
Just so it can drive home, because I understand your point. Okay, so let me share my screen again. My PHP stuff just get started up. Okay, I can see. Okay, Apple was like, okay, can I use like animal? So before going into the PHP, let's say you have a class animals. Class animals definitely has like different objects in it, right? You can have dog, you can have cats, you have birds and all of that. There are like different ways you can look at it. Someone can decide to use dog as just basically an object and just say variable dog is equal to class animal, and that will be fine. Another person might say, oh, no, I want to look at the different breeds of dogs and say, okay, I want to create another class dog. You get it all depends on how deep you think your code is and the scope of your code. That's why it is really hard to be able to use a particular what's called now, a particular code that handles everything that I want to do. You have to think of how deep do you want your code to be. If I want my code to deeply talk about each of the breeds of dogs, then I can have a class dog. You are starting from a class animal. Then when you believe that you have like different animals, then you have a class dog, and then for each of the dogs you can have like different breeds of the dogs, and then you can have dog 1, dog 2, dog 3, dog 4. I don't know if you get that. So that is like so the classes are visually blueprints, and they do not do anything by themselves until you initialize them with objects, like by calling them, or initialize them with objects. So let's say we have, so with PHP, I can just say abstract class. Because that request was basically for well, I could, so we have the shape, and then I can say, now we introduce two things here. Yes, please, Hyperion.
Okay, sorry, please, can you zoom in again? So this is removing.
Okay.
Thanks.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. You guys have to keep reminding me about this. So I hope this is better. So abstract public, you have function calculate area. Made a mistake here, so. And then you just have that. So unlike JavaScript, where you probably have to have that parenthesis in front, for PHP, you don't need to have that. And then yeah, and we are using abstract because we are basically class shape is just for the other shapes to extend them, and it starts like a guiding principle. So they must be able to use all of the methods, in the class shape. So if I do class rectangle extend shape, you already understand how you create classes. When you create a class, you give the class a name. I might say I might not want it to extend anything. If I want it to be just standing on its own, then that's fine. But usually when you initialize or create a class, you just say class, then the name of the class, then the opening and closing braces. And then for this, I can make the properties private. So this is what is called encapsulation. So I have that private width. And what I'm trying to do here is ensuring that these particular properties cannot be taken outside of the class, then class length. So it's private to the class. You cannot get it outside of the class. So that's what that private means. Then, like I said, with JavaScript, we add the super. Here we just have public function. Then you do double underscore constructs, and you have your properties, width and length. And in JavaScript, you are doing these dots. With PHP, you use arrow functions. You use arrows to pick properties. Then you have this as well. So you're just assigning those properties to what we have. And you realize that I'm actually faithful to my semicolons. Yes, it's important in PHP. And then you can have public function calculate area. And where we have these to return, I think I'll have to undo the alignments later. Let me just return here. These wait times. So in JavaScript, you just use these dot wait times these dot height. But with PHP, you just have the arrows that pick this up. And then you close your bracket again. Now let me deal with the indentation here. All right, so this is just like the same thing that we're doing with JavaScript, except that we are using PHP this time around. And this will throw an error with PHP because so I will be running these things more in the video. I just want us to quickly go over let me see. I have like a blueprint here. Just give me a minute. Um, So for object-oriented programming, we have like different concepts, right? We are dealing with, I just would want to use this to explain some things. So this width, the length are called properties. They are called properties. So they are properties of this class rectangle. Calculate area is called a method. While it is a function, it's a special kind of function that is for this class and is a method of this class. You get, so it's a method of the class. So we have it as so they are like the properties are like the attributes, the things you expect from the class. So I can create like different properties depending on what I'm dealing with. If I have a class car, now I'm moving away from shape, so let's have a class car, and this is just a class on it, so it's not extending anything. So what are the properties that we expect that a car will have? Let us see if we have an understanding of what properties are.
It will move.
Tire.
Accelerate. It will accelerate.
It will accelerate. If
Uh,
it will accelerate, that is a method.
Method, okay.
Okay, color,
Because
Tire.
accelerate,
brand.
accelerate makes it to do something. Yeah, someone is saying tire,
Yes,
right?
tire. Tire, yes.
Yeah, tire is more like a component of the car. We won't call it a property per se. Property are like the things that describe the car. So
Like
if you think
color,
of what
Model.
thank you, model. So you can have you might not make it private, I can make it public. Yeah, but PHP would expect you to say any of these things. So, but it depends on if you want it to be accessible outside of the class. So we have model, someone has said color. What are the other stuff that's
Engine
a
type.
car? Engine type, thank you. Is it a 4-cylinder engine? Is it a 6-cylinder, a 6-plug engine, you know? Like, so what else?
Make.
Yeah, make. So when you, an example of a model.
That's the London model.
You said?
Toyota, that's the, she said make is still on that model. I think maybe
no,
like
no, not quite, not quite. Like make can be Toyota, BM, Volvo, while model can be Corolla, Avensis under Toyota.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. That's why I wanted us to put that. So for actually that oh sorry, make. I wanted it to come up here. Now enough of the proper. So these are like attributes. This makeup. So with a car, you can actually describe a car that I have a Toyota Corolla, brown a brown Toyota Corolla that is a V6. Do you understand? And all of those are what attributes, properties that I use to describe my car. Now, when you now say you now want the car to do something, then we can now come to the method that was declared earlier. What was that method?
Accelerate.
Yes. You want it to do something. What other things can you think of?
Reverse.
Reverse. Thank you. Then brake. Do you get? So those are like, so this accelerate is a method. Reverse is a method. Brake and so on. I hope we all understand that now. So that's just a basic example of, I intentionally use the car because in the assignment we actually have we'll be using a book class. Then you create your own class with you create your own book class with relevant attributes and methods. It's just so easy. It's just basically what we do here. So I'm trying to see. It is 152. Do we have time for one more example? Okay, let me just let's do one more thing. And I want to do that in JavaScript. So can you also explain, please?
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah. So
sorry, sir, before you continue, what platform are you using right now? Is it WebStorm or Visual Studio? I don't know.
this is WebStorm.
WebStorm. So we'll be like using WebStorm for OOP, or we can like do this also to Visual Studio Code.
You can use anyone. You can use any platform.
Oh, okay.
You can use any ID to write your code. It's just you writing. No wonder I saw that. It's just you writing. What's it called? Where is the name now? So it's just you writing your code, right? Like it's just you writing the things you want to do. That's all. Do you get? So it's no it doesn't matter which ID you use. Do you get? It doesn't
Okay, I
matter
get
which
that.
ID.
So I can see like you are writing, because I joined the lecture in the middle. I didn't start with you, so I don't know, perhaps at the end, like you can do like a recap for the first slide.
Well, all what we have talked about is the reasons why we do OP, right?
Okay.
Like what are the advantages of object-oriented programming? Do you get?
So this is like a basic. We don't like we are not like in the full like course of
It's just a basic course. We will have
I
like some
understand.
videos that might actually go in depth, probably go more in depth in the videos.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
but
you.
yes. So let us just recap. I was talking about the fact that these are the advantages of object-oriented programming. We have modularity. It helps for code maintainability. It helps to reuse code. I've said that modularity is you encapsulate like data properties. What you have done is on the basic level. You can have like as many different properties in the class as possible. You can have as many different methods in the class as possible. So you are able to like have as much. I think another way to show modularization is if we actually do one more thing. Let's create a calculator. Now, if you create your calculator, no, sorry. You create your calculator.
Sir, can you hear me?
Okay, yes, I can hear you.
By 1:55.
Go ahead.
So I don't know if this recording will be uploaded. So we just go for the class. PHP class.
Yeah, we have like just 4 minutes left.
Okay.
Do you have any question? Because I realized that maybe 4 minutes might be, but it is definitely going to be uploaded. And
Sorry, I guess
So on the LMS, it's
class.
supposed to be 30 minutes class. So how is it 4 minutes left?
It ought to be 1 hour, actually. It ought to be 1 hour. I don't know where the 1 hour 30 minutes is coming from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm adding methods to the calculator class, and then all right. And we have, you will expect that the methods that you should see in the normal calculator should be what? Add a number, subtract a number, and then what other methods are we going to have? Multiply, divide, raise a number to an exponent, and all of that. I'm intentionally accepting the changes because of time that or the suggestions. So another thing a calculator will also do is to display. Do you get? Now imagine you writing all these functions without actually putting it in a particular class. You are just going to have a file full of different functions, but the class makes you to make it modular. You understand that everything regarding the calculator is in one class. Do you understand? So that the modularity, that's where it's coming from. So you can just have display as well, which displays the information regarding what you have. And because this is JavaScript, how do we display to the console? We have console.log and current value. Is this dot value. Thank you for the suggestions. So, and I can create a particular calculator. So let calc equals to new calculator, but I'm going to provide a number here. So because it's expecting a value. So calculator, so let's put a number, let's say 10, right? And then you can just call like different properties of calculator. So calculator dot add 5. Oh, sorry. So what do you think will happen here? Hello, guys.
15 will show.
It will show 15. Thank you. Just that. So that's basically object-oriented programming and the classes. We will look more into
It's 14 hours.
the other properties, like we have inheritance, we have abstraction, and we'll look at that. We've seen a little bit of encapsulation, which is when we use the private and public, just to address how you can access the properties of the class. But yeah, we look more in depth into that. I will definitely, this class is going to be uploaded, and I'm going to upload another video before, like I said before, one day. So do we have any question? The people that want to go to their class can actually leave now. If we have more questions, you can just ask in like probably 2 3 minutes, and then we will say our goodbye. So any questions, please?
Okay, I have a question, sir.
Yeah.
Not really a question. Can you please do a little summary on the few minutes before we started the class, like a summary of it?
I've summarized already. Okay, so
I didn't
basically,
really hear that before.
so object-oriented programming is a programming domain, like it's a method of programming in such a way that you write code in a maintainable, reusable, and modularized form. It makes your code more organized. So it helps you to write more cleaner code. It helps you to be able to collaborate, especially when you're collaborating with others. They know, or they're able to undo or be able to at least understand your code. So it's actually very important when working in teams, and you actually have people that that will also probably review your code. They will be able to understand better what is going on. So it just helps also write more maintainable code, more modularized code, more usable code majorly. And there are like the bane of object-oriented programming are classes, and classes are like blueprints. So when you say blueprint, that is they provide like a platform, a base, something that other objects can be built upon. So when you create a class, you are able to create other objects that take or inherit the properties of that class. So like for example, I have the calculator class. I can actually create another calculator and give that calculator a value of 15, for example, or say new calculator with a value of 20 and all of that. So what does that mean? It means that you have like different variables, but they are instances, we call them instances of the same class calculator. So the calculator objects, all of them will have the properties of this calculator class, and they will also have all of the methods of this calculator class. Do you get? So that is like how it works. And for every class, we have said they have properties. The properties are like the things that describe the class, like it gives a description. We saw that in the way we described a car. How would you describe a car that you see, for example, by its properties? And that's how we describe classes. This class has a property value, or this class has a property weight, it has a property height. And for anything that actually makes the class to do something, like an action. For example, if you have an animal class, what method do you think you can have in an animal class? Like a method speak, because it makes the animal to speak, or a method bark for an animal like dog. You understand? So we have like different things different methods, or a method eat for it to do something. But if you are saying property, you are like picking the properties of the animal. Like, okay, what color is the animal? What breed is it? You understand? So those are like the different things to note about the class. And like I said, this is an introductory class. I will do more in-depth explanation with I think probably something different. And then I think we have more class. And in that second class, we are just going to look like, okay, more in-depth into it. I think that's where we might appreciate classes the more, where we'll start looking at encapsulation, we'll start looking at abstraction and all of that, and inheritance, because classes can inherit themselves. We've actually seen a glimpse of that with the class shape that we have. And then I think that's basically OOP. I have to go, and I know that a lot of you have to go as well. So I would see you in the next class. I think the next class is on the 18th. I will have to check my calendar again to be sure. But it was an hour that I wrote. Probably there has been a mistake somewhere, but it's an hour that I know we agreed upon for the class. So that's why we could choose between 1 and 2, so that PHP guys can go for the classes by 2. And it should not be nice to continue with this class when they should have gone. So if you have any more questions, you can ask in the channels.
The next class is tomorrow. Except
class
Yeah, by 10 p.m.
It can be tomorrow.
It's tomorrow
we have this course tomorrow by 10 p.m. That's 22. Yes, 1 hour.
Yeah, Xylos will give you more information. I'm sure that was
10 p.m. God, I'm just checking. That's too late.
It's too late. Okay, because they have not fixed your class for 3 a.m. Abby.
Wow,
Too late now.
You don't know that night is the best time that programmers use most times to do one.
I beg, it's late, Jerry.
For you though.
Very
Ah,
late
yeah.
to answer that time. Okay. Expect
I'm
your
just kidding though.
expect your assignment. It will be on the platform by evening today. So please look out for that.
Assignment.
Yes, you have-
Assignment.
This video
Yeah.
be posted
We
today.
are still trying to understand what this
Please,
host
Lord,
is
tell
talking
you.
about.
The
No
assignment
problem.
you need to
Send it
understand. The
through.
assignment you need to understand.
I
how
think
to do
that will help.
It will
Yeah.
help,
problem.
definitely. It will. It will
And
definitely help.
the videos will also help. You can just go back and just go over and look at it again, and then I'm
No
sure that
problem.
you get the hang of it, especially with the assignment. And then there'll be a video on YouTube, like I said, uploaded before Monday, so that will also give you some edge. All right, bye everyone. Thank you so much for.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
You're
All right, thank you,
welcome.
sir.
Bye.
All right. Bye.